those impacted by this heartbreaking natural disaster. Our hearts go with you. So now what we will be doing is we'll be going into the panel of scientific minds. The panel of scientific minds, everyone. This is going to be a good one. Oh, that always gets me choked up when I see something like that happening in the world. But prepare yourself, though, because tonight we're going to go beyond the boundaries of science, spirit, and space. We are featuring James Van Dyke, hyperdimensional geometry, I Ching theory, and metaphysical physics. Andrew Morgan, consciousness contact, ET diplomacy, and ultra dimensional theory. Reverend Michael J.S. Carter, spiritual contact, scripture, and the cosmic Christ. Lindsey Laham, frequency healing, DNA activation, and soul level transformation. That's right. We are going to get it going on in this extraordinary panel discussing. We will bring together the four minds for a deep, unscripted dialogue that will challenge you and how you think and what you know, from multidimensional geometric to spiritual contact, from classified programs to the power of frequency. This episode is designed to expand your consciousness and spark your revolutionary thought. So what we're going to do tonight, we'll bring everyone out. Welcome to the Galactic Family Podcast. This is the panel of scientific minds. We have Dr. Andrew Morgan. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone.
We have James Van Dyke.
Good evening.
We have Reverend Carter.
Good evening, everyone.
We have Lindsey Laham. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Lindsey.
Thank you for inviting us.
It's Latham. My name's Lindsey Latham.
Latham. I'm sorry. I always mess it up. Always mess it up. I probably messed it up when we had the podcast.
It's okay. You'll get it.
I'll get it eventually. All right. So the first question I have for everyone is, what do you believe consciousness truly is? Is it an immanent property of biology or a fundamental aspect of reality itself? And we'll just go down the line from Dr. Andrew Morgan to James to Reverend Carter to Lindsey.
All right, I'll kick it off then. I'm not into it being a fundamental aspect of biology. And I would differentiate it from mindfulness, because mindfulness is not consciousness. I know we teach mindfulness as part of education these days, which is great. But for me, as an experiencer, that's not consciousness. I think to be truly in touch with consciousness for me is to come to an understanding through experience that you are not the character you play in this world, and you're also not the body you occupy. You're neither the character you play nor the body you occupy. Once you understand that, you realize that the real part of you, your true self, is something you actually have to rise up to and connect with, because that changes your whole perception of reality. So that's what I think consciousness is. And once you reach that realm, your whole world changes. And you start to realize that you're a co-creator or an architect of your own reality rather than responding to everyone else's programming. So that's consciousness to me.
Okay. James.
Well, I like to think that I'm a conscious being because I'm alive. And one of the neat things about life is that we're all made out of stardust. True. And when you take that into mind, I like to think that the whole universe is a conscious entity and that we're just a part of it, a small, very small, insignificant part, but that we do have a chance to play a role in it.
Okay. All right. Reverend Carter.
I would say that consciousness is simply being aware. And I think that, at least for Homo sapiens, and I know some people may say, tell me about their dog or their pets, but that to be aware of being aware is what consciousness is.
Okay.
So that's as simple as I can put it.
All right. Lindsay.
Hey, okay. So consciousness, from my understanding, is everything. It is without consciousness, everything ceases to exist. It can be hijacked and it can be delayed, but it can't be destroyed. Consciousness is source itself.
So it's like energy.
Well, yeah, it's energy, but it's the energy behind the energy behind the energy. It's behind everything. It is creation. It is source.
Okay. All right. Now, this is the question for James. Like we'll have certain questions for certain individuals, and then we'll just go back to the person before. So, James, how would you define hyperdimensional geometry to someone with no math background?
Well, I would start out with left and right-handedness. And I define it with two different objects that are left and right-handed. They're tetrahedra, and they're mirror images of one another. And that, for me, is the foundation of the math in itself. And then it keeps expanding to larger and larger polyhedron that define larger and larger spaces. And I tie it all in with the I Ching, because the I Ching is a very ancient math that was created by the Chinese, but the I Ching itself is a book of divination. But my feeling and what my book premises is that there was a companion book that went along with the I Ching that was geometrical in nature. And that if you take the hexagrams of the I Ching and use them as diagonal square matrices, they can form a geometry that unifies left right-handedness. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay. Reverend Carter. Well, actually, these are questions specifically for people, I guess. So I have them down here. Are spiritual experiences universal across cultures because they tap into a shared field of consciousness?
I would say yes. I would say yes. Now, they may be described differently, obviously, or the source that they may be coming from may be described in different words. But I would say there is a universality to those experiences.
Okay.
Especially, but not limited to, NDEs, encountering off-world intelligences, out-of-body experiences. Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, in your contact research, do ET or ultra dimensional beings describe realities in ways that align with our own mystical traditions? Like, do their traditions meet ours, or is it we are actually trying to catch up?
That's a very interesting question as an experiencer. Yeah, and then you start asking, are they malevolent or benevolent, and at what sort of entity are they? Yeah, I would go for. Sorry, what was the core of the question again? Just say what was the core of the question?
In your contact research, do ET or ultra dimensional beings, do they describe reality in ways that align with our own traditions, or are we catching up to their traditions?
Yeah, a lot from my experience. A lot of it's symbolism and visual in terms of communication. So I've had the full gambit from, I suppose you'd call it astral projection or bilocation, into situations where you're more of a patient, to being able to interact more, and then kind of ask questions or challenge what is going on, and then right through to almost conversational. But then I've also had, local, non-local experiences. So here, manifestations around me where it's been just more of an absolute talk or a conversation. Hybrids as well. So
Okay.
much more human looking, where I'm in some sort of security situation and I'm not meant to be there. So I've had such a broad spectrum, but the whole time it's more of an education, I would suppose, about what reality really is that seems to come to us. If you're looking for an underlying fundamental concept across the whole gambit of experiences, it would be becoming aware that nothing of what it seems and what you see around you in the lowest dimension, it really is the lowest dimension. So I think I think there's two sides to this. One seems to be groups of people or civilizations interested in helping us understand, and there seems to be another side to this where we are a curiosity, and there seems to have been some sort of long-term interaction with us. So I see both sides of that in my various experiences. So I think it's more the approach of trying to tell us that this physical dimension is very limited in terms of consciousness, and to join a cosmic community, we need to have a much higher mindset than that, and I think a lot of that is to do with wielding the technology that goes with it. I think there's a big story behind this, and it's not simple.
Okay. All right. Hey, that is what it is, sir. So we got the next question. Lindsey, what is your view on the idea that DNA is a storage medium for consciousness beyond just physical and hereditary?
What is my understanding of that?
Yes, like memory DNA.
I mean, I don't want to say that I believe it. It makes sense. It
Okay.
makes sense that it makes sense to me that if you're cycling through and constantly ascending to a higher level of understanding, that things that happened from a different timeline in a different life is embedded into your DNA for you to work on at a later time or in a different timeline. And as far as trauma and all those things, getting stuck in bloodlines and ancestral karma and all of these things, I've experienced it, and I've cleared a lot of it. So
that's good.
I mean, it's there.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to go down the line with another question. We'll start with Dr. Andrew. Try to make them shorter a little bit. And then we'll try to get it going here. Could reality be fundamentally informational, a sort of universal code? And what would that mean for free will?
Information is reality, just information. So the matrix. Yeah, I think three-dimensional reality is or matter is the end product. So I think it's where information becomes material. So yeah, I think reality is information, because everything is energy. So we are all a manifestation of energy in the form of matter. or point, and as human beings, we're points of consciousness in that landscape. So I think, yeah, it is an information field that is the result of the energy field that sits behind it.
Okay. All right, James.
Yes.
Could reality be fundamentally informational? A sort of universal code? And what would that mean for free will?
Well, my feeling about free will is that we have free will. And as an energy being, I mean, we're a physical being, but we're also an energy being. I
Okay.
kind of go along with Carlos Castaneda's view of what a human is, and that we have a physical part, and then we have an energy part that goes on after we die. So once we die, we're an energy form that gets reincarnated.
Okay.
So that way the concept of knowledge continues.
Okay. Reverend Carter.
Yeah, I'm not sure if reality is so just information. I think that there also has to be some type of experiential. Life is to be experienced.
Okay.
Reality is to be experienced. Otherwise, you just stay up in your head, and it gets to be the paralysis of analysis. There's more to life than information. In our culture, we seem to mistake the two, like information equals wisdom. It can be applied and be wisdom, but I think there's a little more to it than that. As far as free will goes, brother, we could split the Nobel money. If I could give you a definitive, we could all go to the Bahamas or Europe. But I think that basically, at least for me, free will is that you can do anything you want as long as you realize there are consequences.
Okay.
Mm.
That's how I would. I can do anything I want.
Yeah.
I can jump off this roof, but I'll probably go splat. So that to me is free will.
Okay. Lindsey.
Will you repeat the question just so I'm
I
hearing
sure
it?
will. Could reality be fundamentally informational, a sort of universal code? And what would that mean for free will?
Okay, so that's implying. Okay, so free. I'm seeing what you're dropping down here. Okay, so to me, everything can be information. Everything can be data, so to speak, to colors. I mean, even experience. Experience is still information. And to my understanding, we are here to learn and absorb that information and assist in the ascension and the growth of the collective. So free will, going back to free will, is that our free will got us here. We chose to be here. So we are still operating within our free will, even though the fundamentally information still, it seems confined in inside of a box, but I don't view it that way.
Okay. All right. Now we'll go to another question. Dr. Andrew, when people report non-human contact, do you think they are connecting with something out there, or are they connecting with something deep within themselves?
Oh, that's
having that come to them.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I think it can be both.
Okay.
Yeah, because we live in a populated universe. But we also are our own person or our own consciousness. So I think you can connect. So you can connect with your higher self and essentially have a conversation with yourself. And if you are a religious person, then your perception will be that way. If you're a universal source type person, then your perception will be that way. But then I think you can also have a conversation through as a contactee with, like I said, the range of entities that live in a populated universe as well, depending on what your contact experience is. So
Okay.
I definitely think it's both.
All right. James,
Yes, sir.
same question. When people report non-human contact, do you think they're connecting with something out there or deep within themselves?
Well, I've only had one experience of connecting with something that wasn't of this earth. And at that time, I was out of my body and I had died.
Okay.
And getting back to the question of free will, when I asked if I was dead, the answer came back to me, do you understand free will? And my response was, you're offering me the choice between heaven and hell. Because certainly I was in hell. I mean, I was in heaven. I was in this place of all consuming love. And I didn't feel threatened or anything.
Okay.
I just felt that I was in a very good place. But I mean, they say when you die that your brain manifests things that when you come back to life, you remember what you manifested. So I like to think that my brain wasn't manifesting my being in heaven. I like to think that I actually was there, and that when I was offered the choice of using my free will, I had the choice of either staying or leaving.
Okay.
And I left. I mean, I had been training for the last year to save people's lives, and I knew I was going to Vietnam. That's why I thought I was going to hell, but I was going there for a purpose.
Okay. Reverend Carter, same question. When people report non-human contact, do you think they're connecting with something out there or deep within?
I think it doesn't have to be either or.
Okay.
I think it can be both. And you know, that inner journey may come after, you know, the outside contact and what have you. But I don't think it's either or.
Okay. All right.
At least
Lindsey.
not in my experience. It wasn't.
Yes, sir.
I go in to communicate with things that are a part of everything as a whole.
Okay.
But as far as other things in physical reality somewhere else, yes, I believe that also.
Okay. All right. This is getting good. See, we're getting some good questions in. People are loving it. Interesting question. All right. Let's do the next one here. We've got James. This is a question for you. Can the concept of a Merkaba or a light body be modeled or visualized using hyperdimensional math?
Well, I'm ready for that question because I have a model of a Merkaba right here. And what it is
Of course you do.
a Merkaba is two counter-rotating tetrahedra that are connected with one another in a form of an energy field. And they model multiple dimensional geometry.
Okay.
I mean, there's 6 crossing points that are all perpendicular to one another, and there's a total of 12 of them, so they model a 12-dimensional geometry. And then the fact that this is existing in time, that's the other dimension. So there's 13 dimensions of a physical thing. And then if you consider this matter, then you have to consider antimatter. And when you add the antimatter to these 13 dimensions, you get 26 dimensions. So that's my answer.
Hey, that's why we got the panel, because we're getting all different types. So this one will be for Reverend Carter. Is there a figure of a cosmic Christ, and is he a symbol of humanity's potential to awaken its true cosmic nature?
What was the first part again? Is there a what of the cosmic Christ?
Is there a cosmic Christ out there? Not just
I mean, there's a cosmic Buddha. I don't think we need to get caught up in the names.
Well, not maybe not Christ, but maybe a cosmic symbol of humanity's potential, like a beacon,
I think
almost.
if we say we all come from the same source,
Yes.
then we have that potentiality.
Okay.
Rabbi Jesus talks about it. The Buddha talked about it. My God, Mother Teresa. I mean, we all come from that. And so I think religion kind of got it messed up because I think if we look at Jesus, let's look at Jesus just for a
Yeah.
second. What he was saying is that, and my research and my experience, that what I am is potential in you. You and I have the same thing. It's just I don't have anything else. And so therefore there's an example of that consciousness, that it's just in all of us. Let me just put it that way. So
Sure.
yeah, now whatever you want to label it, that's on you. But the labels kind of get in the way.
I got you.
But there's an archetype. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This one will be round the horn. Um, we'll go with Dr. Andrew. If the observer collapses the quantum wave function, is reality essentially a cooperative agreement of all the observers?
That's a good one. That's the observer effect. Yeah, because everything is a wave until it's observed, and you've got the two-slot experiment that proves that energy can be collapsed into matter. So I think, yeah, are we all? So in other words, if no one is looking, then nothing exists because it's all energy. And the moment I think you've got to start thinking of time as non-local and not linear to understand this, because the linear perception of time is a human construct, because past, present, and future all exist simultaneously, which matches this whole wave versus matter and the observer effect that what is gone before is doesn't exist, and what the future doesn't exist is only there's only the eternal now. And if there's only the eternal now, when I'm not looking at something, it doesn't exist. But then it goes, well, if you go away from your family and you're away from your family and you can't see your home doesn't exist because you have to observe it for it to exist. So there's a whole conceptual theory around this. I think together, 7 billion people on this planet, if you go down what you're saying, we are constructing the reality we see in front of us because we're looking at it. So if 7 billion people stop looking at something, it ceases to exist. So if we all turn our backs on the war in the Middle East, for example, and don't think about it or look at it or do anything, it ceases to exist. That's the whole concept. But that also means we're the architects of reality. So if we all, 7 billion people, decide that the people from the civilization from Alpha Centauri exist and have always been here, then they manifest and they become part of our cosmic landscape. So I think that's a brilliant way to look at things.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Lindsey, let's go with you on this one. Can meditative or altered states allow us to step outside the conscious reality? And if so, is that a glimpse of a deeper truth of yourself or ones around you?
I wouldn't say outside of conscious reality. You're stepping into conscious reality.
Okay.
You said out though, right?
Yeah, allow us to step outside the conscious reality, like outside our own conscious reality here.
I still look at it as going
I
deeper into conscious reality. And then what was the other part of the question?
Is that a glimpse of a deeper truth?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's what you go. I mean, that's what I go in for is information.
Okay. meditative states bring out an informational state that you can receive from.
Correct.
Okay, I got you, Lindsay. All right, Dr. Andrew. Do the ultra dimensional beings ever warn about distortions in our collective consciousness? And if so, how should we address them? Do we have
So
distortions?
distortions in our collective consciousness.
Yes. Maybe we'll talk about distortions being the Mandela effect.
I think that's difficult because it's a very individualized experience.
Okay.
And contactee when you are a contactee, and a lot of it's symbolism. Really, the way I experience it is it's not like you and me having a conversation, right? Because the moment you try and do that, unless it's a more of a bilocation or a human or human hybrid experience, that doesn't happen. So it's often symbolism, visions or pictures put in your head that you have to decode. So I couldn't necessarily say that they're trying to give me a perception or understanding of the whole of humanity. I'm sure you can decipher warnings and about possible outcomes or predictions of future events, because there's also precognition. I published a book on all this, because there's different things. There's precognition, there's bilocation, there's astral projection, there's out of body, there's physical, non-local experiences as well. But to look for an underlying theme across all of that is you're implying that there's a reason behind every level of contact, and I don't get that perception. I think there's different agendas from different contactee experiences. Yes, some seem to have more of a holistic concern, and using you as a conduit to try and make you aware of that, and I'm thankful for that. But there's also the individual stuff as well, as a contactee, that is more of a, you don't understand this yet, but we're preparing you for something.
Okay.
So you're going to be a contributor. So again, you can't say it's yes or no or black or white. There's just such a mosaic of experiences.
All right. Next question. We got James. How do fractal growth patterns relate to expanding human awareness or consciousness fields?
That's a question that I have no idea how to answer.
That's okay.
What I'm going to do, though, is jump back into something that the Reverend said about higher beings.
Okay.
When I had my near-death experience on Mount Shasta, I thought I was going to die, and for a moment I kneeled down and I prayed, and I asked for help so that I could find a shelter, because I was in a whiteout. I couldn't even see the trail that I had been on. And what happened, I mean, first I heard an argument going on about whether they should save me or not. And the next thing that happened was I saw a light further down the mountain, and I could see the trail again. And so I went down the trail, and when I got further down the trail, I saw a light inside a crevice. And so I went into the crevice, and as soon as I got in the crevice, I was no longer in the storm, and I knew that I had been saved and I wasn't going to die. But then later on, when I was in a room that appeared like a museum, that's where I learned the mathematics that I developed and wrote my book about. But what I was observing was a spherical being of energy. And when I walked over to very close to it, I asked it if it was an angel. And the answer kind of blew my mind, because what it answered me was, no, we are what mankind has the potential to manifest into.
Okay.
So that kind of goes back to the Reverend's idea of a godliness.
Okay.
We all have a part of God in us.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Lindsey. Is there scientific evidence yet that frequencies can permanently shift human consciousness?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not, science is not my thing.
No, I know.
I don't know anything about it, but I mean, frequency is everything. Music has a potential to shift your frequency, and absolutely.
Okay.
It's less than
Okay.
that. I don't see how it couldn't be proven.
Okay. Now we'll go to Reverend Carter for the next question. If thought creates reality, why do negative patterns repeat even among the aware?
They're not two different things. Thought does create reality. Buddha told us that, and also the Hindus taught us this 5,000 years ago.
Okay.
But the mind needs to be trained.
Okay.
And I am not saying that I am there.
No.
There may not be any there. But the mind has to be trained through meditation, through being in nature, through contemplation, to look past the illusions to what is real. And so those patterns there. And it's not so much even being, and this is not what you're implying, I don't think,
No.
about being perfect. And I'm always thinking,
No.
positive thoughts and, let's all sing Kumbaya and imagine, or we shall overcome. But that I catch myself when I'm going to a lower frequency.
Okay.
And I can adjust that.
Okay. Same question for Dr. Andrew. If thought creates reality, why do negative patterns repeat?
Yeah, I'm along the same lines as the Reverend. Is that
Okay.
we're here for a human experience. So if you're carrying trauma, because I've been through trauma as well. If you can't break the trauma cycle, then that has a huge impact on your perception of reality, and it's repeat, repeat, repeat. No, you haven't learned the lesson yet. Repeat it, even to the point of your next life or your reincarnation. No, you didn't learn the lesson. So until you understand that everything is a lesson, and that's trauma, well, I'm at a stage now where I look back and go, well, trauma has made me an aware and conscious being. And without all that trauma through my life that I was placed into, I wouldn't be awake. You know what I mean? I would just go
The
around
experience of going through it, right?
going through life, and then and be none the wiser. So, the Reverend also said, you can't have wisdom without experience. Often experience comes from trauma, and the people that have been able to get through trauma and break the trauma cycle. So I think that's where the trap is that you have to get through all that and understand why it's happened, and in a positive way. That's where a lot of people fall down.
All right. Same question,
Could
Lindsey.
I
No,
add
go ahead.
something very quickly? Just
Go
very
ahead, Reverend.
quickly. There's also the collective. We're speaking mostly from what I'm hearing, more individual. But let's say history repeats itself,
Okay.
or as one poet said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. But it does repeat itself, and it repeats itself because collectively, if we don't learn from those mistakes, we will do the same things over and over again, which is uncomfortable, but it really makes us have to look at how connected we are. Let's say, for the sake, like let's just say there's some type of nuclear exchange. We're like, it's getting kind of apocalyptic in some ways. And you and I, everybody here, we could be at this state of high evolution. But if the other 8, 9 billion people aren't, we're going to perish along with them. So, there's always the individual and then there's collective, and they're part of the same thing. And I just wanted to put that in because we can get so focused on the individual that we forget that we're part of a collective. And as they rise, we rise. And as they fall, we all fall.
I definitely think that too. Lindsay.
Okay. So it goes down to, I was just talking about this the other day. It goes back to your subconscious thought. Your subconscious thought is what is mainly manifesting the reality at an individual level. So, but when you awaken, you are awakening to where your subconscious and your consciousness are becoming one thing. So as you awaken and as you learn the lessons, they combine, and that's from doing a lot of work. You have to go back and you have to heal the things from your childhood and do the work in order to get there. It doesn't just happen. And we as a collective, that's what we're here for. Is to go through the cycles, learn, and collectively ascend. The ones of us that are here to help assist the collective in awakening, that's what we're here for. But we have no control over how fast that is going to happen or how quickly somebody else's journey is going to awaken. That's why everything keeps, like you're saying, will perish with other people. But that's what we're doing here. That's
okay. Life. All right. We actually have I actually wanted to ask this with Lindsay. Lady D has childhood PTSD and feels it's a burden on her achievements. I don't believe it should be.
I have complex PTSD. I've been diagnosed with everything in the book. I use it to go deeper into my purpose and to help people through it. As long as you see it as a burden, it's going to burden you. It's like shift your perspective into using it to your benefit, not allowing it to cripple you. That's like straight up victim mode.
That's beautiful though. Take control of it. Don't let it control you.
Everybody has PTSD. Life is traumatic. Once I learned that, I was like, literally everything is traumatic. Everything. Yeah. It's traumatic being in these bodies. Everybody's traumatized. Period. So it's like, get over it and start using it to your advantage.
All right.
It has to do with your life purpose and why you're here.
I like that perspective because I'm having been to Vietnam for 3 tours. I've been suffering for PTSD for quite some time, and I like the idea of using it to get out of it. And I'm right now going through therapy to try to do exactly that same thing.
EMDR is awesome for PTSD. It's helped me a lot.
Welcome home, Troop.
Yeah.
Welcome home. My dad was in Vietnam.
Welcome home.
So, James, this question is for you. How do fractal growth patterns relate to expanding human awareness or consciousness fields?
I thought we already answered that question. I said I couldn't answer it because I don't know how it does it.
That must have been a double question. Wow.
It was got me.
See, you gotta love. Listen, and this is the problem also because we rely too much on AI. Like I'm the only one that runs the show, so I let AI do the scripts and this and the questions, but I base it off of your website, Dr. Andrew, or James, or Reverend Carter, or Lindsay, off the website so that it gets the right information, hopefully. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so
ask AI that question.
Yeah, let's ask AI, like, why do we have a double
Answer that.
pattern? Anyway, okay. Andrew, we'll go with this. Do you see a consistent pattern in how different cultures experience the contact phenomenon?
A consistent pattern.
Yeah. Do you see any pattern? Any pattern at all, as in different groups of people seeing things differently?
I would go with let's talk about Indigenous experiences, because in Australia I'm having more and more to do with Indigenous cultural narratives of the
Yes, and
phenomenon.
that is the law of one, I believe, down there, right?
Yeah, and Aboriginal or Indigenous Australians. So this is this is normal to them. Like this is just conversational talk. They're not allowed to talk with white people about this unless they get approval from their elders. So,
Yeah.
but I happen to be in touch with elders now that want to build a relationship and share their story. Now, for 60,000 years in Australia, they have coexisted with these entities or manifestations or spirit. I think they call them wajina down here, as a blanket label. In terms of the Indigenous cultural narrative, a lot of that's to do with passing over as well and death, because in Australia, when an Indigenous Australian dies, you're not allowed to talk about them or say their name. And also out in the outback, the orbs that they see, or the Min lights, they talk about them as being passed over spirits. But there's also, they have a negative perception too, or it's normal to say, oh, don't go over to that place over there because there's wajina there, or there's beings there, and if you go
So
there,
that's like that's their territory.
yeah, if you go there, you'll never come back because they'll take
Oh.
you. But that also goes, I mean, I've literally sat with someone who said, look, in our communities, we've seen craft come down and beings come out and do whatever they do and then leave. So it's a normal cup of coffee conversation. So I think that's what's so important in the next few years, that we get First Nations people more heavily involved in what is going on this planet, because they have the story. They know the whole history of this planet, not all the lies and the BS that's fed to us by those in power that don't want us to understand that we've had resets, we've had civilizations here before, and our First Nations people will know all about this. So I think there's a completely different truth telling to all this on the First Nations side of it that we have yet to bring on board to what we understand in secular society, or what we think is going on, which has been hijacked by dogma or organized religion or those in power and wars and fighting and violence. So, yeah, there's a big picture there that we have yet to bring on board.
Okay. Let's go with James. How do we distinguish between authentic contact and projections of our subconscious?
Something from our subconscious you can't touch or interact with as much as a physical entity
Okay.
would be my answer.
Okay. Same question, Reverend Carter.
Can you repeat it, because there was
Yes.
a glitch when you were talking?
How can we distinguish between an authentic contact experience and projections of our own subconscious?
I don't know if there's a formula for that.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. When I speak at conferences, or if I'm attending, and if someone tells me about an experience they have, I'm not going to judge that and say it's not true. I will take their word that this is real.
Okay.
I'm not a mental health professional, and so I'm not going to say, hey, this is a figment of your imagination or what have you. I'm going to take their word for it that this is what happened to them. So I don't know if I could say to someone, I may ask questions, but if someone says, I saw a gray in my home last night, I was aboard a ship or whatever, I'm just going to say, okay, you want to talk about that? That's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I like to think about that answer as if it's an individual experience, it's not as powerful as if it's a group experience where more than one people are experiencing the same vision or interaction.
Okay.
Mm.
Same question, Lindsay. How do we distinguish between authentic contact and projections of our own subconscious?
Okay, so my answer on this, because I've had experience and from just being alive and interactions with other people have seen, so I've collected my own research.
Okay.
Plus, this goes back to what inner work have you done and how healed are you on the inside? So at first, it's very out of control, and there's definitely projections that your subconscious is creating. Your mind can be a monster, and it will literally try to kill you if you let it. There's a thin line.
Okay.
But, and then on the other hand, it's all the same. It's a projection, and it's a real experience at the same time. So it's all relative. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like they're the same thing on opposite sides happening at the same time. The labels are making it separate. So, and then I've also seen it as a program. It's a programmed, what I'm noticing is that when people start to have a psychic awakening, the mind will say, and they start hearing voices, I am Lucifer, I am the devil. It's like something along those lines, because it has to be something shocking to get the individual's attention to start paying attention to this thing that is inside of them that is speaking, which is actually just a psychic awakening trying to get you to pay attention to it and develop it. But it has to be something so obscure to get the individual to pay attention to it that it has to be shocking. I've had that experience, and I offhand know two other people who have had the same experience 20 years apart from each other or so, in between 20 years, that's how their psychic awakening started, with the voice being the worst case scenario. So then I was like, oh my God, it's a program. It's a program. It is a pattern in which it's being introduced into the consciousness to awaken this psychic awareness. And where you can go one of two ways with it. You can think you're a schizophrenic and go off with that and not do shit with it and take medication and be the victim, or you can dissect it and you can get through it and you can awaken into your power.
Okay. All right. Let's go with Dr. Andrew Morgan next. Could ETs be ETs, interdimensionals, and even angelic presences be all the same phenomenon, but just interpreted through different people?
I've had this question before about the phenomenon. I don't think it's the same phenomenon interpreted through different people.
Okay.
But I also think, like we were talking about, Lindsay, just then with projection too, I was just thinking about this, and you've just answered the perfect question about being the same phenomenon, is that you have to be really careful, like Lindsay said, with the mind, because the mind is really powerful. And as an experiencer, you can start thinking, this is how I want the phenomenon to be for me. And then the phenomenon reflects that back at you because of your mind, rather than connecting with your consciousness. So you And it's also when I find the same thing happens as people start dictating what they want the phenomenon to be, present, or manifest in their lives, is that no, you can't do that, because now you're trying to tell it what you want it to be. And because it's a much more powerful and eons ahead of us, is that that phenomenon may well go, okay, well, that's just what will reflect back at you because that's what you want to see. And it's the same with like orbs, angelic beings, or orbs, spirits for indigenous people, through to actual physical beings from other civilizations. They're all different, but if you just label everything as it's all the same stuff, and it's I think your mind is just telling you what you want to see and what you want to hear, and then that reality is being reflected back at you. And if they're thousands and thousands and thousands of year ahead of us, and it's right from orbs through to physical entities, then you're missing the whole point of this. You're going back to your mind controlling your response, rather than, like Lindsey said, being open to doing the work and just letting it come in, and not trying to manipulate or organize it into this perception of reality that's built around us, because everything's based on your experience. So you're just projecting that onto this and giving it a label, and that's the wrong way to go.
Okay. All right.
Can I say something? May
Yeah,
I say
go ahead.
something? Okay, so when I was listening to you speak, what came to me is, you know how we're all conditioned and we're all raised by our parents to think a certain way, and you know, if we're certain religions are shoved down our throat or whatever, all of that stuff goes back into our subconscious. So what I'm just realizing now is, looking back on my psychic awakening when I was 19, I'm 43. What was happening is my subconscious, it was like the subconscious was manifesting the bullshit conditioning that was back there, and it was purging it out. So it was like the devil and da-da-da-da-da. Well, you know, I mean, if you look out at psychics, we're considered to commune with demons or whatever, or we're the devil, or, you know, I've been called so many different things when purely I work in the light, and I know that that's not truth.
Yeah.
But you have to go through that. You have to go through the purge of the subconscious programming. And that just clicked, that is what was happening, and what was coming out or coming up, or I don't know if I'm even making sense.
No, you're fine. That's why we got the panel. We discuss everything, you know.
I think
James is up next, but I think he had computer problems, so we will go with the next question here. Reverend Carter, have you seen spiritual encounters overlap with UAP encounters in your pastoral work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have. And sometimes they're the same thing, and sometimes they are not. There's a wonderful book that was written, was it Ray Moody? Anyway, I think it was Dancing Towards Omega or something like that, where he is, and I could be wrong, but he's comparing contact experiences to near-death experiences.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes they do overlap. Very much so.
Same question. We'll go with Dr. Andrew. I know you don't do spiritual work, but in your work in UAPs, have you seen it in any other like fashion in religious areas? In that, like you mentioned, the indigenous. What other areas have you seen them in other than that?
It's probably, I don't know if anyone's aware of this, but my father, who's passed on, was a priest. So Anglican, and then Catholic. So my whole life was organized religion till I was a teenager, cathedral choirs and music and church and everything. So my whole life was angels and demons until I was 15, including my childhood contact experiences. So I've written about all that. So I think, I think it can be. Sorry, just repeat the question.
The encounters you've seen. What other areas besides like the religious areas, religious groups, have you seen these UAPs in?
What is a UAP?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What is it?
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Yeah, so just the phenomenon.
It's UFO. It's the new term for UFO.
New term for you. I would go through, because I've done a lot of background work, having been brought up religious, which so I can relate to what the Reverend talks about a lot in my life, and had done a lot of biblical study growing up and all that sort of stuff as well. But I spent a lot of time in the last 5 years researching my own Christian roots. And the biblical narrative, and going back to origin stories, comparing those origin stories to other cultures around the world, and trying to understand what's buried in there. Listened a lot to Paul Anthony Wallace. He's another Anglican deacon that's gone down his own path a little as well, looking at Sumerian texts, ancient Hebrew translations, the removal or the introduction of monotheism in the Bible, original translations, and the whole extraterrestrial part of the Bible that seems to be confused with the concept of God. So I think there's a whole layered story in that biblical narrative in terms of the Old Testament that requires a much deeper understanding of the culture of the time. So in terms of spirituality, a lot of my contactee experience, I think, is because of being a spiritual person with roots in Christianity, and that the Christian narrative is all tied up with this whole phenomenon thing. So I would say, yes, there is a deep connection between spirituality, what has been formed in terms of religion, and the phenomenon. But I think the shallow part of religion is a very shallow understanding of the phenomenon and its confusion with source or God as well. So I think it's very. We could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, I know. So we will go with Lindsey next for this question, and then James we'll catch up to James with his. Could ancient DNA hold codes to communicate with star beings?
Sure. I mean, that's within all of us.
We just have to train ourselves to actually get to that point. Then.
In my experience, you have to be open and willing to be able to observe and intend, and then be able to observe the communication.
Oh, okay.
But I view us all as fundamentally at our core the same.
Yeah.
And so if one person can do something, the other person can do it. It's just a matter in which way you're going to get there, and if you even want to get there.
All right. James, welcome back.
Thank
Next
you.
Question
I tried to adjust my screen.
Next question is for James. We've got, could the I Ching be a kind of communications language for interdimensional beings?
I don't know about interdimensional beings, but I think it's a communication device for beings, us on Earth.
Okay.
Whether or not it was given to the ancient Chinese by extraterrestrials or higher beings, I don't know that answer.
Okay. And now the next question will be for Reverend Carter. Is there any evidence that non-human intelligence are using, have you heard this, in your pastor, your ministry, of frequencies being used to contact people, other than being right in front of someone. They hear ringing, or they just ring all the time, or something when they're around an area.
Yeah, I have heard of that. I don't think I've experienced that.
Okay.
And if we're talking about, again, about energy and
Yes.
frequencies, yeah, I've heard about that. I think Ancient Aliens has done a show or something about that. So, and I've heard other experiencers talk about that.
I've experienced it.
You have. Okay, Lindsey, let's hear from you too.
I don't want to say the most recent, but the experience that's coming to me is, this was probably maybe 2 years ago. I was driving down a windy road to go pick up my son from daycare, and this is on film actually, because I was filming a video and I was talking while I was driving, and I was going around this curb, and all of a sudden I went deaf kind of in this ear, and it rang, and I was like, whoa, something's going on. Like, my guides, there's somebody's trying to talk to me. And sure enough, there was somebody driving. It was a 2-lane road, and there was somebody in my lane. Like, I was about to get in a head-on collision.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't see it. And my guides were communicating with me to get me to, like, pay attention. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same question, Dr. Andrew. I mean, have you had that happen? Instead of seeing something, maybe you felt a frequency through your ears instead of seeing it.
I think, yeah, it's a common. They talk about the symptoms of awakening as well,
Okay.
and yeah, the intensity of ringing, and that it's the left or the right ear, and it's not the tinnitus or whatever you get in your ear. You actually have a sore ear. It actually sore. I've had to the point of skin flaking off and my ears bleed, a little bit of blood sometimes too. So I've had that high frequency, or low or high. I think some people might just pass it off as nothing, but if you start connecting it with, okay, what's going on around me? What am I meant to be paying attention to? Like Lindsey just said, but you've got to. I think you have to train yourself in all this. Like, once you become aware of your awareness, as you were saying, you then got to start making connections about your body reflecting some things that you can't see. And that's a process, rather than just passing it off as, oh, what's going on with my body now? And also, there's medical conditions too. You've got to understand the difference between a medical or medically diagnosed condition and an external presence trying to communicate with you. Otherwise, you can start telling yourself things that just aren't real, and then you end up in the wrong situation. So I think the discernment's, you got to be discerning, and not just make something that isn't. But yes, I've had that too, and I still get it, the ringing on and off all the time, to the point of having an aching ear, a sore ear.
The medical field has a knack for turning spiritual experiences that we're supposed to have into conditions and sicknesses. I'll just say that.
And I'll say the medical field is pretty biased about any and all UAP paranormal experiences, period, because I myself had a UFO experience. I was with Ancient Aliens on season 19, episode 5, with Travis Taylor and Nick Pope. I was investigating before them. I investigated a UAP landing site in Wapwallopin, Pennsylvania. My arms actually got scarred up and injured because my arms were over the area and got exposed to ionized radiation waves.
Oh.
I had the EMF meter, the lab reports from the MUFON lab that did the results with an XRF microscope and everything else, had the results of from that, the soil samples, the meter, brought everything into the medical office and was told, unexplained skin eruption.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Like, it's EMF, it's radiation, it's something, but they don't believe you, even though you have the evidence.
Yeah. And here's some drugs to treat it.
Yeah.
And this is how much it
And you know what I
costs.
wanted? You know what I told him I wanted? I said, I was in the Army. I was a radiation specialist. I want some dang iodine tablets so I can get rid of this radiation out of my body quicker. And you know what they gave me? Skin cream. So I went and bought it off the counter, over the counter and stuff. And I took them and I got my arms don't scar up anymore, but they used to. They used to a lot. Like my arms would heal up, and then months later, the same spots would open right back up again.
Yeah.
I want to.
Iodine's like a deficiency too in all of us, supposedly.
I want to interject on something that Lindsey had said about her experience on the 2-lane highway.
Go ahead.
I was on a 4-lane highway, and I was in a snowstorm, and I was passing a large semi truck, that one of those ones that had two. It was hauling another truck
Double
behind
decker
it.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
a double one. And I was just about not quite to the cab and it was snowing. And I heard my stepfather, who taught me how to drive in a snowstorm, he told me in my ear, James, didn't I always tell you in a snowstorm never to drive in the left-hand lane? And when I heard that, I punched it. And as soon as I cleared the front bumper of that truck, I pulled right over. And the truck driver got mad because I pulled in so close to him. He's laying on the horn. And before he got off the horn, a car came in the left lane and passed us both. And had I not paid attention to what was in my ear, I would have been in a head-on.
Was your dad with you in the car or not?
No, he wasn't with me. He
Right.
died several years
Oh,
earlier.
yeah. See, that was him though.
I had an experience only one time with the same thing. That's why I actually brought up the question. I was driving down a back road after I got back from camping with friends, and I had this irritating ringing in my right ear, and it was really painful. But it was so painful that I was kind of not. I knew I was not paying attention as well as I should have to the road in front of me, so I slowed down on purpose because it was really painful. But as soon as I started to slow down and go around the corner, there's two deer. One's on one side of the road and one's on the other side of the road. And I'm like, oh my God, if I would have been driving the same speed I was, I would have hit one of them or went off the road either way, So I've had something similar happen myself.
I have something to say about this because from my experience, I know that a lot of people worry, well, if they're not connected and they just can't seem to consciously develop their intuition, or they don't feel good enough or up to par. What I've noticed is that you're taken care of anyway. Like you didn't know what was happening then, but you were reacting consciously with what was going on with the fabric of your being. It's like you slowed down. You were still reacting on intuition, whether or not you knew what you were doing or not. And what I've noticed is that is my experience too. Like when I'm driving on the highway, if I can be in La La Land, I could be communicating with God, not really paying attention. I will slow down automatically if there's a cop somewhere. Like it's just something that it's like I will do without even being turned on in that way. And we're already there. It's whether or not you want to tap into it and use it to your advantage, or but
yeah, use it for good or evil.
Well, use it for evil. I don't think you'll have it very long.
Boy, yeah, exactly. Like, all right. Reverend Carter, do these intelligence have an ethical or moral code, or is it beyond our understanding of right and wrong?
In my experience, some do and some don't.
Okay.
I know some people, sometimes we do. You can look at us in our culture. Just because you have high technology doesn't, or more advanced technology doesn't mean you're evolved enough to know how to use it.
True.
And then there's some beings who have been able to merge a high level of spirituality as well as technology. So I would say that it depends on the race.
Okay. Same question, James. Do these intelligence have an ethical or moral code, or is it beyond our understanding?
I think they do. Otherwise, they would be openly interfering with us on a on an everyday basis.
Okay.
I like. Well, I'm a Star Trekkie, so I like the Prime Directive.
I got you. All right, Lindsay, same thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if we all have a baseline moral code, is what it feels like
Okay.
to me, that everywhere, like there is universal truth and it is everywhere. And
Okay.
it has to be, or you won't, or you're like,
Yeah. Same
out.
question, Dr. Andrew. Do these intelligence have ethical or moral code, or is it
Yeah,
beyond our understanding?
no, I don't think it's beyond our understanding, because us planet-bound humans are stuck with a duality. Whether or not duality is actually, real in terms of good versus evil, angels versus demons, who knows? It could just be a human construct. But I think there is a moral and ethical code amongst some intelligences as a collective, and that's often portrayed now, like the Galactic Federation, for example, that everyone talks about becoming part of, a group that's got together that have a moral and ethical code of non interference, or not direct interference, but being able to help through gifts that humanity may use for nefarious purposes, which is what this whole 80 decades of the program is meant to have usurped. So I think there is a moral code there, but if you look at truth telling and in First Nations and Indigenous stories and global resets, the weaponization of technology by those civilizations that don't have a moral code has ended in catastrophe. If you want to look at conspiracies and cover-ups, and I'm sure when we get out into the solar system publicly, that we will find the entire solar system is a graveyard of artifacts and wars gone by between other civilizations that's all been covered up. And I mean, that's my perception. So I think that they've learned from experience as well over a millennia that we can't go around destroying planets and solar systems, because there'll be nobody left. So I
Yeah.
think,
No, that's very true. We
There's
can't
also
because
there's a wonderful book that I'd heard from Paul Anthony Wallace, called The Secret Commonwealth, and took place about 18th, 19th century, Presbyterian minister, I think somewhere in Ireland or what have you. To make a long story short, he was getting to learn the stories of the indigenous population there. And no one believed them. They were talking about fairies and elves and what have you. And he started taking them very seriously. He wound up being murdered. He was a Presbyterian clergy person. And he was finding out, and I'm only speaking to this because what James had said. I commend the book highly, but basically what they were saying is that these beings are interfering, and they have been since before biblical times.
okay.
And if you listen to what Hayam Mashed, the former brigadier general, he in 2000, what was it, 2008, he said there is a galactic federation, that we have bases on the moon, that there are extraterrestrials some who want disclosure, some who don't. They've
Yes.
always been interfering, and maybe it's not interfering. Maybe for some it is, but basically, the reality is that our all our geopolitics and everything is being influenced by these beings to this day. And when you read the biblical stories, when you read the Mesopotamian text, the Elish, it's all, they're all in the politics. That's how
Yeah.
it's all started. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Reverend Carter, we'll go with you on this one. Are government secrecy and spiritual secrecy actually two sides of the same coin in an attempt to manage the fear of the unknown?
Yeah. I don't think they're two sides of the same coin. I know that, for instance, there are other clergy that I'm in touch with that are trying to come to grips with how when this really comes off, which it will. Right now, we're focusing on tech and national security, but the narrative is bigger than this, and there's a spiritual component, obviously. But right now, it's easier to deal with the tech and the national security, plus the fear base of the narrative. The big kahuna will be when religions get it that some of these beings created us, and that we were told that there was a God, which I'm not saying that maybe there isn't, but that's not what our ancestors are talking about. This whole thing became monotheized around 6th, 8th century BCE, at least the Old Testament, the First Testament. So, I mean, I can imagine, what are you going to say? It's bad enough that you're going to say, we've been lying for 70 years. Some people have lost their lives. We've made treaties with these beings that we've broken we've done everything. But the big killer will be, oh, and by the way, some of these beings had a hand in creating us.
That's the major thing holding everybody back is how manipulated people are by organized religion, by Christianity and Catholicism. Not all organized religions, but that is like literally the main, I mean, I view it as the main thing holding people back from ascension, is this belief in a false narrative that people will, I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. It completely contradicts itself, and people just don't care.
I think we need to go back to the religious text, or the text that we find from the beginning. You know, if history is written by the victors, then you go from the time period back as far back as you possibly can to read something.
Yeah, but it's all been manipulated. The Bible is completely manipulated, and why do we have to go back to that stuff at all? Why
Well,
don't
not that. I'm saying, like, not even the Bible. Let's go Dead Sea Scrolls. They're even older.
Well,
No,
the
but
thing is,
farther back than that.
the thing is, and I know Brother Andrew wants to jump in here.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is that our religions most likely came from these extraterrestrial contacts.
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, I have friends who, oh, Michael, I don't even read the Bible anymore. And I didn't for many, many years. But I realized that it's a rich narrative of our ancestors trying to tell us what it was like to be invaded, what it was like to share this planet with these beings. And that's what those stories are about. That's not all they're about, but that is basically what's it about. That's what it's about. So you ignore them at your peril.
Okay. Dr. Andrew?
Yeah, it's just along those lines. Having been religious myself, is that it's a process of education, because the Bible's been translated and translated and translated so much now to try and remove that narrative, but it's still there because you've got the Nephilim, you've got the giants, you've got a few other things going on that don't make sense or add up to the narrative they want you to believe. So it's a process of re-education about the fundamental concepts of organized religion and their roots. And their roots are in origin stories. And until you re-educate and teach the origin stories that the Bible is found and how the Bible came. You know, I can go up to any evangelical church, Pentecostal church, and say, do you know how the Bible was made? Who made the Bible? I know it's the word of God, yeah, but who made it and why was it made? And what did they do? What was their plan when they did it? Oh, what are you talking about? You're possessed by the devil. So that's where it's at the moment. So there's a whole walk and through a whole series of stages to get them to go back to their roots and understand that religion usurped the true message of Jesus and Christ consciousness. And until we can do that, we're all devil worshippers. So yeah,
but they don't do that. They're manipulate. I mean, it's fucked. It is the major lie. It is the major lie on this planet that is detrimental to everyone. That needs to be.
It's not what Jesus. It's not the true message of Jesus either.
I don't know. I say
any one thing is detrimental to anyone's health.
Yeah, well, listen. If we knew the original history, like, it would be different. Everything would be different because what is actually in the Vatican secret archives? No one knows.
Child molesters.
No one. I mean, I did see.
I'm sorry, but
I did see a documentary.
I was raised Catholic.
But the priesthood.
I saw a documentary one time where I believe they showed someone going into the Vatican secret archives and a room that was all glass and had like a seal to it and everything. The door and everything was sealed to go in, and double room to seal, go in. You couldn't touch the pages with like a tweezers. But it was a lot of rooms, I'll tell you that. From what they showed, it was a lot of these locked glass, like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 10 bookshelves in each, and then you had a table, and then there was a glass box around it with a doorway that goes in.
You've got to consider this, but the Holy Rome, the fall of Rome, the rise of the Holy Roman Empire. What do we do with Jesus? What do we do about his? I mean, they persecuted his disciples and killed a lot of them. What do we do with Jesus? Everyone's okay. So let's turn it into a religion. Let's organize it. Let's create a priesthood. Let's create the Vatican City. Let's create a priesthood. Let's create separation and a monotheistic God. Then we'll control everyone. And it went from there. I mean, that's my interpretation.
This was going on, but this was going on way before Jesus, brother. Just pick up the Old Testament.
Yeah,
this was going on way before that.
That's true. All right, James. Same question. Government secrecy and spirituality. Secretly the same side of the same. Are they coined? Like government secrecy and religion, same thing?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, my view of the church is when you look at the history of the church from the time of Constantinople, and when they rewrote the Bible, the New Testament, it was for power and controlling the populace, keeping them dumb and ignorant and controlling them.
Dark Ages.
And mainly out of fear.
Okay. Easy to control if you're not jumping over the walls trying to investigate what's going on.
Well, if you're not allowed, I mean, look at Galileo.
Yeah.
You know, someone who says that the earth goes around the sun and not the sun going around the earth. So he's persecuted by the church for that. So
it's true.
It's controlling the narrative.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Why don't people understand that?
That's a good question. It's a
They're
hard
so
one, Lindsay.
manipulated. They're so manipulated, and they're so in fear of God, which is Jesus God, or you have to go through Jesus to get to God. It's like none of it makes any fucking sense, but and people just follow it blindly.
I just don't like the fact that people don't do their own research.
Exactly.
I was the same way. I grew up every Sunday. I'm at church. I'm at Bible studies with my grandmother, making me go. And I was there for like 10 years we went. And it instilled into me some things that maybe more respect for myself when I was going through these things, because it was like, it's Bible studies. You're learning how to help people most of the time, not the hateful stories.
It's all ego. They play on your ego.
It is ego. I won't say it's not, because the first thing you learn is the victors write the history. So who was the ones before them that they took down before they wrote their history, But next one, Dr. Andrew. What is the best explanation for how orbs or plasma type entities might relate to non-physical intelligence?
Orb-like entities relate to non-physical intelligence.
Yeah, just you said energy beings, right? For energy, an energy being type of intelligence.
How they relate to it. So the research we've been doing, because we've been trying to uncover what orbs are, or certain types of orbs are, and how they relate to energy beings. There seems to be, in terms of mechanics, we have a pretty good idea of how some types of orbs assemble themselves non-locally within our dimension and then transit physical space. So, we've published on all of that. So that's you can look up all our energyscape stuff. But in terms of being a being or a toroidal being or an entity associated with it, that's the part that we need to talk to Indigenous people about, I think. So, okay. Is there an object inside the orb that's non-local that we can't see? Like, is it solid? Is it an actual ascended being or an entity in there that's non-physical that can communicate? And I think there's some awareness or some sort of sentient nature to the ones we've been looking at over here in the outback, and that would align with the cultural narrative about some of these orbs as well. But not all orbs are the same. I would say that now as well, because we've got naturally occurring magnetic anomalies, piezoelectricity, so there's naturally forming plasma orbs, and you've got to learn to differentiate. But in terms of the non-human intelligence side, yes, they appear to be aware. The ones that we've identified as being true orbs seem to have an awareness of their surroundings. They can orientate, they can navigate, they can communicate. Is that a sign of sentient intelligence and communication with the likes of me? That's where the wall of knowledge is at the moment, and that's where I'm trying to pursue the Indigenous cultural narrative and conversation with that. So I can't give you a conclusive answer to that at the moment.
That's okay.
There seems to be something there, but it's getting the story behind it.
Because I've had something in the sky following me for, over probably around 15 years or so. It was there before I consciously knew it was there because it was in photos. So I started talking to it, and it told me it was a higher self technology, because I can communicate with it and call it down, and it'll come closer in the sky to me, and I can communicate with it telepathically. Well, what if they're all just an extension of self, and it's a higher self technology connected to every single one of us, and that we're actually in control of it? I don't know.
That's actually a thought provoking, because the ship that I was abducted when I was 16. Me and my mother, 2 hours worth of time was missing from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. But when I got the memories back, well, I didn't get all of them. I went through regressive hypnosis once, but I only got back certain parts of my memories from those 2 hours. But what I can remember was something talking to me in my head saying that it was a living spaceship. The spaceship itself was a living being.
Yeah.
And it did what it did as a conscious decision to abduct me and my mother, because the beings on board hit us with the wrong, I guess, scanning device or something, and it hurt us or something. They had to take us up. The ship took us up to repair what the beings had done and put us right back to where we were, but it was 2 hours later.
You know, but that answers your question about some of them having benevolent qualities. I mean, they righted a wrong that they did, so that answers part of your question. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of Chris Bledsoe. You probably have. Yeah, you know, he talks about and he's, you know, military intelligence here in the States has been very interested in him, and they are.
Mhm.
And he talks about his contact with orbs, and sometimes the orb morphs into a being, and vice versa. And as you were saying, Andrew, that there were, you know, there are different orbs and different variations and what have you.
That's
So
right.
if you
You're talking
haven't
about-
read his book, then
You're talking
maybe
about the
that can
lady
shed
in-
some light.
Yep, you're talking about the lady in white he was talking about.
Oh yeah, his book is called UFO of God.
Okay. Yeah, definitely want to read that. And I've actually been trying to get in contact with him for about a couple weeks now, so I'm hoping to hear back from him. He's a busy man though.
He's a very busy man. He lives
Busy
about
man.
4 hours away
All
from
right.
here. Yeah.
Man. Well, if I
Talking-
get in contact with him, I will take all of you with me virtually. So James.
Well, just going back to orbs, talking about orbs that have conscious thought, think of the Foo Fighters during World War II. They weren't interfering with just the Allies. They were also interfering with the Germans.
Very true. Very true.
But they weren't doing anything maliciously. I mean, they weren't shooting down anything or destroying anything. They were just watching, observing.
True. Almost like they were scanning to see what was going. Like they were, like you said, they were just observing the time period. Like, let's just watch what happens.
Well, of course. I mean, war brings out the worst of mankind.
Well, look at the atom bomb. As soon as we dropped it or we tested it, we had all sorts of visitors.
Yeah.
And of course, when you talk about the atomic bomb, you go back to the Veda and India and Devambara. I can't know if I pronounced that right, but I mean, that's very positive evidence that there was atomic war on the earth many thousand years ago. And there's also evidence of atomic war on Mars.
Yeah, and
Those
Sumerian
words right out of my mouth.
text as well. Yep.
So,
Sumerian
so talking about non-benevolent beings, I mean, I would say that they're definitely evil ones.
There can be either. It's just like humans.
Well, are they evil? I mean, we're
True.
getting ready to do the same thing. So I don't
We
know.
did
if
do the
when-
same thing.
When you live in a glass house, I don't know if we should throw stones. But it does tell you that they, you know, when you look at like Greek, the Titans, and they made love, they drank, they got drunk, they were very much like us. Some of them were more evolved, some were less evolved.
So it's just a common choice, really. It's like it's a choice to be who you are and who you want to become.
But I
Well,
think
once the naked apes started doing atomic weapons, that caught a lot of attention.
Yeah, but I think they've also got to realise that according to some of these ancient texts, that they argue and fought amongst themselves, even over what to do with humans.
Exactly.
If you look at the Akkadian texts, they went to war over what to do with humans, and that says in the documents that there were nuclear weapons involved, and they destroyed a lot of what was going on because they were arguing amongst each other. So
even in
it's not-
Genesis, they're arguing about what to do with this experiment, what to do with Project Earth. So yeah.
Okay.
And Sodom
Lindsey,
and Gomorrah.
yeah, there's another one.
do dreams serve as an interface for first contact in contacting spiritual beings in a safe manner, safe environment, like your own dreams?
I mean, I don't know if that's always, but I mean, that's my experience.
Okay.
But with the whole human thing, arguing over it, there's so much fear, like attached to these human bodies and the human experience not existing anymore. Well, if humans aren't here anymore, we're just going to be somewhere else in some other bodies doing something else on another planet. It's like, why be attached to any of it not existing anymore? If it's not helping the whole big picture of everything and beyond, then I just don't see any sense of being upset about any of it, because it's not that serious.
It's not. I mean, if you work on yourself and you work on, the best, the worst parts of yourself to make yourself better, then essentially you will affect others around you in a positive manner.
That's what it has to be.
Yes.
It has to start from the self, period.
Yes.
That's what
I
people
totally
don't.
agree. 100%. Now, we will go with James. Do you believe the I Ching is sentient, or is it something even more profound?
Is it alive? Does that mean, is it alive?
I mean, you're talking about a book. So, I mean, all books have a certain amount of life to them. They record something, but I wouldn't say that it's a thinking.
Maybe a sentient system.
Like Reiki.
Well, I've been fooling around with the I Ching since I was in Vietnam, and I don't think it's a sentient system. It's a system of, in ancient China, it was a method of divination. So it was used to predict the future.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be interesting once the quantum computer becomes sentient.
Yeah, well, then we're going to learn where we are on the totem pole.
Well,
I mean, you either work with it or it works against you.
Well, it's coming fast.
Oh, faster than we can come, like than we can think, because it's like we're sitting there and we think that we're the ones on top of the food chain, but we're inventing something that's about to be the top.
It's certainly going to outthink us, that's for sure.
Yes, it will. But when it comes to now, could collective contact, James, be a step towards open contact as far as spreading it out? Collective contact, is that a better step to do than single contact, if you're trying to singly do something or collectively do something?
Well, I like to think of Stephen Greer and what he's trying to do collectively. And there tends to be more positive results when multiple people are combining their consciousness to interact with extraterrestrials.
Okay.
I mean, every night when I'm in my hot tub, I think about, hey, come on down and have a talk with me. But no, so far, no one has come.
Well, you never gave me your address yet. I want to go in the hot tub. Oh, boy. Andrew, what role does trauma fear, or religious belief play in blocking or enabling contact?
Control, fear, and religious belief can do
You got a hard
both.
one.
Yeah, because especially with external influences from other humans that, inside the program, I suppose as they call it, about what their agenda is. So you can create a fear-based response in terms of a contact experience from external influences, or you go inside yourself and look for the truth of the matter about the contact experience. But you've got to deprogram what society has told you to believe, I think, in terms of the contact experience, in terms of fear-based. So I think you've got to develop an awareness that the narrative, especially at the moment, because the war at the moment is spiritual and of the mind globally. We want you to go down this way so we can control disclosure and go down this way, which is, I think, who was it? One of you said the technology path. And then there's the other side. Well, no, we want to go down the spiritual road collectively. So, yeah, I think we're in precarious times, but I'm positive about the outcome of that. To me, there's only one outcome. Doesn't matter what everyone else tries to do now. The outcome that we all want is going to happen, and all these other people are going to fall away because they have to. I think there's no other way now.
That's how we designed it.
Okay. Lindsey, if non-human intelligence is collaborating with humanity, what might be their long-term goal for us?
To ascend,
Okay.
to awaken, unity, consciousness, to ascend to higher densities, love, unity. I mean, but I don't know. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, is extraterrestrial agendas, or draconian, or like Draco, the reptilian agenda, that could possibly be slowing us down. But then again, is it just a part of the puzzle, and it's a part of what we are supposed to conquer and ascend out of? Does it have to be looked at in a negative light? I think it all fits in, the puzzle all fits together. The perceived evil and the perceived light all has its place in our climb, so to speak, to higher density and to unity consciousness.
Okay. Let's go with Reverend Carter. Could time traveling future humans explain some of the ET phenomenon? And what would that change about disclosure if we actually found out they're not extraterrestrial, they're just from the future?
I don't know. Those are three different questions.
Oh,
So could time traveling humans tell us about? They could. Could they be? I mean, these are all theories that people
yeah.
are talking about. Could they be from our future? They could. I mean, anything is possible. My expertise happens to be in the scriptures and biblical and texts. So from what I'm seeing, those are possibilities, but these beings have just been here. They had a hand in our creation, and some of them, they all have different agendas. They're like us in a lot of ways because, they made it with Earth women at one point. So right now, anything is possible.
Okay. Let's go with actually, this is for you, Reverend Carter. Does a cosmic spiritual framework help reduce fear about contact experiences?
No, not necessarily,
Okay.
because one is theoretical.
Okay.
And one has to be, it's like people we were talking about, oh, so what if we die and it's all part of the plan? I don't know about you, Lindsay. I got a child. It's not so blasé for me. I just can't go, oh, this is just part of a plan. I'm human. So it's one thing to intellectually compare about, oh, death is death and what's the big deal. But there's another thing that if someone said tomorrow you're dying, I'm just trying to keep it real.
Yeah.
Me too.
So
I'm a medium, so I know that death
thing,
isn't real.
the thing, I'm not a medium and I know it isn't as well. That does not mean I want to die tomorrow. But my point
Once you
being,
die.
is just that, I like to think I have more of a cosmic view. I mean, I don't really like the word. It sounds kind of woo-woo, but there's a universality that I like to think I have. And I realize that people who don't have that, they're kind of my teachers because I want to watch out because otherwise I'll be saying, you know what, if only you thought like me, because I know better than you and I have all the answers. The ego can subtly do that, but it doesn't take away my fear, but it lessens it a bit.
Okay. All right. Let's go with Lindsay on this one. Two questions, but I'll go one at a time. Sorry, Reverend Carter. I'm trying to get these through, and
No
get
problem.
questions in.
No
Lindsay,
problem.
how do you see frequency technology supporting or replacing modern medicine in the next 20 years?
I mean, I would hope that it would. That
Okay.
would be fantastic. Whether it will or not, I don't know.
Okay.
But
And if you could ask a non-human intelligence one unfiltered question, what would it be?
one unfiltered question, what would it be?
Yep.
I don't. If I could ask an extra, it's like I don't have a question.
Yeah.
I don't
You
have
would
a
just be in
maybe
awe. I think I
something
would
about
too.
maybe something having to do with being able to open portals or be able to like physically go through a portal and time travel in that way. Maybe something to do with that.
Okay. All right. Dr. Andrews, same question. If you could ask a non-human intelligence one unfiltered question, what would it be?
I was just thinking about that right now. The question for me would be, despite everything, what is the true story about human history on this planet?
Okay. Same question, James.
What are your plans for us?
All right. That's a good one. Reverend Carter.
What is your concept of love?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. All right. So this is our last little bit here that we're going to get into. It'll be on future UAP technology, ethics, and the path forward, and then we'll call it a night, guys. Or a day, Dr. Andrew, because you're over in Australia. It's what, 10
10
o'clock
a.m.
a.m.
Yep.
there. We're going to be going to bed here soon. All right, so let's explore something. What would truly advanced UAP propulsion look like beyond our current physics, Dr. Andrew?
Well, this has all started to come out anyway. It's field-based propulsion, so non-traditional combustion. So there is no combustion. It's energetic fields. It's energetic field coupling with space-time. So engines derive their energy externally and modulate it internally So in other words, overcoming inertia, overcoming gravity, instantaneous acceleration. Occupants don't feel anything because you're in a bubble, essentially a bubble, a field-based coupling bubble. So that technology. This is part of the program. That technology has been suppressed for 80 years or more, and that's the whole problem at the moment. Is there once I think the Reverend said, yes, national security is focused on this technology, and I've got a book coming out on it soon about to be published, Forbidden Science. So that's that whole concept there. But the spiritual stuff is starting to come online as well. So I see this field-based propulsion technology, and the trouble is we've got combustion fuels and the fuel industry and all this. All the transition of economies is underway. I think behind the scenes there is a hell of a lot going on, being put in place and positioned for what is happening and is going to happen quicker. So I think we're going to see some interesting stuff in the next couple of years.
Nice. I hope we do. I really do. Listen, I watched the Jetsons when I was a kid, and I thought when I was growing up, that's what it was going to be. You know, the 1956 and 1960s, you know, G engines are coming.
Yeah,
where are the G engines?
Yeah, the portals.
Like, I could remember that. Like when I was a kid, my dad used to tell me, "Oh, just wait, Jason, like 10 more years. Computers came now with the little floppy drive, but in 10, 20 years, you're going to have, you know, gravity control." And we don't.
Yeah, my dad thought we'd be driving flying cars.
Yeah.
Still waiting for that.
How about flat screen TVs?
And every person since then that's gone down that research path has had their careers interrupted or ended, because it's all in my book coming out.
Wow. So, all right. So, James, could higher dimensional harmonics allow for propulsion without inertia?
Well, I think just the opposite. I think that an inertia drive would be something that controlled inertia without any fuel involved, and it also created an electromagnetic field that used the electromagnetic field of the universe.
So you're tapping into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the same thing, it creates a bubble, and that if you're in the vehicle, you're not going to feel the effects of what's going on.
Yes, because you are in the bubble around, like, it's like everybody says, you know, they see these objects and they go from space to water, back to land, back to water, like within seconds. And you're like, there's nothing on this planet that can do that. But you two have just explained that it is possible to do it. Yeah. Because you have a bubble. It's not the actual object that's hitting. You're in a bubble. The bubble is hitting the water first. You are just transversing through it like it's nothing. You go through it like air. All right. So let's go to Lindsey. What is your opinion? Do you think the public is ready for the truth about this UAP technology, or would it cause chaos when it first came out?
More than ready.
More than ready.
Off. Yes.
All right. That's what I'm thinking too. We've gone too many years on gas and coal and ruining the environment when we could have been on these clean energy fuel systems that were house size.
You can't make any money with them, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no meter.
It's.
I mean, why do you think Tesla was banned and bankrupt?
Yeah, and
because he wanted to give free energy, no meters.
Well, yes, and the reason why. Now here's my reasoning behind it. Okay. Tesla, the reason why Tesla got whacked, this is my reasoning. Wardenclyffe Tower was a bust. JP Morgan pulls out. Doesn't have a meter. We don't want to do it. Free electricity. Everybody thinks that he's off on his own, destitute at this hotel, living for months by himself. This guy's a genius. He's not living in that room doing nothing for months on end. What he did was, what my theory is that he modified the hotel that he stayed in to extend the actual, if you look at the hotel that Tesla stayed in, there was a pole that he modified in the plans himself before the hotel got constructed. There was a copper pipe that went 50 feet into the ground and 150 feet past the top floor, which matched the exact size of the Wardenclyffe Tower, but it was in New York. My theory was he knew JP Morgan was going to pull out.
Yeah.
He had a backup plan. Watch this, everyone. I'm going to flip this switch and I'm going to give all of New York free power, and then everybody will come to me for this invention. But before he had a chance to flip that switch,
Murked him.
it ended up with him being deceased and being found deceased. That's my theory on that one. Or Tesla would have been, he was never destitute. You don't find a genius destitute. You find them thinking in a room going, this is going to work because I'm going to make it work. Like Andrew, you've had things that you were like, no, this is going to work. Like, I'm going to make it work. Same thing with Lindsey, with your perceptions that you felt. This is working. No one's going to tell me any different. James, Reverend Michael, Reverend Carter, same thing. This is what it is, and it works.
That's the way I feel about the mathematics.
Jay, I'm going to have to go, man.
No, you're good, Reverend.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
It was nice to meet you.
Yes, everybody, have a great evening. It's nice
Anytime
meeting
thank you
you
for
wanna
being
come
on here,
Reverend. You
Reverend.
come back.
My pleasure. Thank you, brother.
Hey,
Live
no
long,
problem,
live
Reverend.
long and prosper, brother.
Same with you, my
You
friend.
too. You too.
Have a great night. All right, man. I love Reverend Carter. He's a great guy, man. He was actually my first ever
Guest?
person I interviewed. Yeah, my first guest. So, all right, let's go with Dr. Andrew. Are there patterns and cases that hint at propulsion breakthroughs that humans might adapt?
Yeah, definitely. A big part of our Energy Skates lab research is looking for an underlying common theme across all UAP sightings. So, yeah, boundary layer effects. That's our whole approach this week when we're sampling and footage we get sent now is looking for common boundary layer effects that can be reverse engineered. So we go from there, look at the underlying patterns, toroid, vortices, Doppler shifted effects, gravitational lensing, and we model that. And what we've come up with is there's a common underlying theme across most, if not all, phenomena from orb to orb-like craft and objects to structured craft. So okay. I would say there's a definite pattern or theme to it all.
All right. Lindsey, what is your opinion on programs attempting to, they back engineer craft? Are they real? And if they are, what do you think we've learned?
You are literally speaking another language to me. I have no idea. Programs having to do with UFOs and how they're run. Is that what you're asking? I've literally it's way over my head.
That's perfectly fine. If, like I said, if you don't, you answer how you want to, Lindsey. That's the way the panel is.
Was that what you were asking me?
Yeah, it's like same question. We'll do Dr. Morgan, and then I'll have another question for you, Lindsey, because I think that was for Dr. Morgan anyway, but I think I messed up and asked the wrong person.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah.
I think some of the technology.
It's been a long week. I got called today out of the blue also saying that, oh, Jason, we want you as a MUFON representative to go to WBRE in Wilkes-Barre and be on the News Nation episode for MUFON. And I said, oh,
Congrats.
so what's that?
I said congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So I sat there and I was like, oh, okay, well, when is it? And they were like, tomorrow. I'm like,
oh my God.
oh, shoot. I'm like, well, thanks for, letting me know in advance. But, I'll be there, but,
Yeah.
wow. So
That's what I'm hoping that will happen with me in a television interview.
Listen, I'm hoping everybody gets seen on my podcast and gets out there. I don't care. Lindsey will be on, the Newswatch 16 for solving, the murders of the nations, because she can see into that. Andrew will be on there, talking about the future science of America and being like, we're doing it,
Do it.
and we're doing it my way. James is going to be on there like, listen, if y'all don't listen to me, I'm going to put you in this little cube and you ain't never going to get out of this geometry puzzle. That's exactly what's going to happen. Like, I wouldn't get out of James's geometry puzzle. I'd be stuck in the middle of this cube
It's not a tube. It's not a tube. It's like a buckyball.
Yeah, but I would be stuck in there. Like the movie or the series I've been watching, The Foundation, where they have that little cube where they're like going like this, and Harry is stuck in that cube and he's looking out. I'm like, that would be me.
The Foundation is a great science fiction movie.
Yeah, I read the books.
Books. I read them as books as a kid.
Yeah.
What is it on? Is it on Netflix?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
it's on Apple.
Oh, yeah, Apple. Yeah, that is a great series. And the third season's coming out this month. All right, let's do you think the public is ready for the truth about technology? James.
Well, I think that we, as a collective world, we would all benefit from it, and it should help mitigate the climate problems.
No,
I mean, one of the things that Elon Musk is working on is extracting the atmosphere for his rockets on Mars. Well, that same technology could help extract carbon dioxide from our atmosphere.
True. Very true.
He just needs to work a little harder on that problem besides his rockets.
All right. Let's do
because you could convert CO2 into methane with a certain process.
Yes, you can. All right, let's do one more question each, and then we will call it a day for Dr. Andrew, but a night for us. We'll do James. If you could redesign our entire technology with your hyperdimensional principles, what would you build first?
Well, I would build a lot of domes because when you think about Albert Einstein and the geometry that he used that came out of the 1854 paper, and right now his name is leaving my mind, but it was describing a membrane that was multiple dimensional. And when I think about that in my mind, I see Buckminster Fuller's geodesic domes where he has two domes interlocking each other, and they have a tetrahedral truss that connects the two, and then the wiring that he has in that are also connecting the two domes control the different vibrations that happen in structures. And that's one of the things that I got the idea of multiple dimensions having at least a minimum of 12, because it takes 12 fixed points to stop all vibration. And his domes are a perfect manifestation of a multidimensional membrane.
It's a
And then, of
membrane
course-
so it doesn't collapse onto itself. It's a stable
And then, of course,
membrane.
Buckminster Fuller, his fullerenes, a buckyball, which has 60 carbons, that also is the same kind of a multidimensional manifold,
Okay.
because it definitely has an inside and an outside.
Yes, and we were
You just
talking about
can't
that.
have-
And we were
I'm just
talking
saying.
about, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were talking about that on the show, that there's an outside and an inside to the actual dimensional ball.
Right. And they counterbalance one of each other. Buckminster Fuller calls it vector equilibrium, where the forces are equal between all the different points.
Okay. Lindsey, how should humanity ethically engage with non-human intelligence who may have centuries of advance over us?
Ethically,
Yes.
ask permission to communicate.
Okay.
I mean, as well as they should operate in the same way. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know
Well,
what else there is to that question.
could we let me give you another question then. Could consciousness itself replace the rocket and render spacecraft obsolete because we're traveling without rocketry astrally?
Gotcha. So, are you saying the astral realm make physical reality obsolete?
Yes. Will it make rocketry obsolete if we can astrally travel to Mars?
We can astrally travel to Mars.
Yes.
When
But
you're
we
in the
still
People
have
have already
rocketry.
done it.
you can go anywhere you want in the astral realm.
True. But then
So
that
that
didn't render it
is
obsolete, though.
is
We still
physical
use it.
reality going to become obsolete?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, who knows? It depends. I mean, that depends. That I could see that being where we're all going in a
okay.
section like astral, and because as we ascend higher into our powers, then we could be able to physically fly, just as in the astral realm, how you can fly.
Yeah.
It's as the two become closer and closer, and as we ascend into a higher density, then I could see that becoming a reality. Whether or not Earth will still exist and humans will be doing the same thing that we're doing now, just somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So let's hope.
you're
I would
good.
love to be able to just fly right now. I would love that. That would be amazing.
My first question for an extraterrestrial being, if I ever, had a chance to talk to one off the bat, would be, why here? Why did you send me here?
Oh, wow.
And then
We're good. We're
You're
good to
supposed
eat.
to be here.
And that would be, and listen, why here? Because there's other places I could be than just here. I mean, I could choose to be here. I could choose to be on this planet. What did I have to learn? That's probably that would be probably my question.
That's the only thing. You're the only one who can answer that.
Well, maybe they know why I chose to be here.
I
don't
like
want to
the
come back to
Twilight.
here, being
I
like,
like the Twilight Zone movie where they're invited to go on this spaceship, and one of the people discovered that the book that they left was a cookbook, and we were the dinner.
Oh God.
oh boy.
Yeah. I love the Twilight Zone. I often feel like I'm in that show. I
Okay,
grew up on that.
the last question we'll go around with is, if you could give one final message to the future about contact, consciousness, and humanity's place in the cosmos, what would it be? Final message.
Starting with me.
Do the inner work. Do the inner work. Do it.
Do the inner work. That's a
Do
good
the inner
one.
work so we can make it out of this MFR.
I think if we're all on the same wavelength, we all ride together. So that's the way we should be. We all should be focusing on trying to help to help the situations that we have put ourselves in, to manage them and grow from them. Not let them control us. James.
Keep an open mind and think about the mistakes that we've made coming up to where you are in the future, and try not to repeat the mistakes.
Okay. All right. And this was an excellent episode.
Andrew, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Did
Go
you
ahead.
answer?
I would just say stop carrying other people's problems, either historically or now, because you're just repeating cycles: war, violence, aggression, anger, fear. So stop carrying other people's problems.
I agree.
Worry about your own problems. We all pretty much said the same thing in different words, which I think is
Yeah, well,
One of the other things that
wavelength, at least.
one of the things that I'd like to add is that 70% of the earth is the ocean. And instead of fighting over the different lands that we live on, we should start building colonies that are on the ocean surface. I like to think of a colony constructed in a sphere that had most of the weight down in the bottom so that it floated in the ocean. And again, a double sphere so that the inner sphere isn't moving in relationship to the outer sphere. And in that motion, it could generate electricity. It would give a model for when we do go to different planets. And I'm saying that beyond Mars. We would have a group of people that were already living in a symbiotic relationship and learning how to get along and live in an environment that was basically a closed environment. Because when you get to Mars, you're going to be living in a closed environment. You'll be able to get out on the surface every once in a while, but you're not going to survive on the surface.
Yeah. Not without drastic changes being taken place.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
we have a higher possibility of terraforming Venus than we do Mars. What we need to do is introduce some kind of a biological element that would thrive in Venus's atmosphere and turn it into an oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere.
Yeah, you just have to find the right combination to introduce, though.
Yeah, you got something there to work with. On Mars, there isn't much to work with.
I've been to Venus astrally before, and I was at a party.
Good for you.
Like I was in like a warehouse, like a rave, and I knew I was on Venus. My issue is that the where the information comes from and everything that we're told, I can't trust it. So it's like I don't believe anything that is widely told to everyone. I can't take it as truth because it's so
manipulated.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, for all I know, there's already life on Venus, and nothing that they've told us about it is true.
No,
But,
I'm totally there with you.
I mean, I don't know, that could just be my ignorance.
No, I'm totally with you because, listen, every planet in my mind has some kind of life on it because there is. I mean, they found water on Mars in one of the poles. So you go beneath the water, you find life. You go to Venus, you find life. You go to Saturn, you find different types of life in different atmospheres because that's how they adapted to survive in that atmosphere. Just like we did. We didn't initially come from the land. we came from the ocean, and then we adapted to the land and everything. But I don't believe any of that kind of stories, but that's what was being told in history books and everything else with evolution. That we came from the water, and then evolution took off. We had fins, we got to land, and here we are, monkeys, and blah, 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 blah. But I don't prescribe to that. I think we were all engineered. We were put here. We were put here for a reason. And our souls are, like you said, Lindsey, we have a reason why we're here. We chose to be here because we have to work on something. Right?
I really just think it's to learn.
Or to learn.
Really, it's just literally to learn.
Okay.
And that's what I feel, that we're here to learn, and it's a privilege to be able to come down here and have the experience, and that it's the attachment to it is what causes a lot of fear and worry and all of these things, when that it's just it's not actually real. It's like it's not something to get all worked up about. I know that that's crazy, I guess, because we have emotions and things like that, but it's we get to be here and experience these things. It's not being forced upon us, and it's not to our detriment. That's just what I feel.
Okay.
I like to believe that that we were created by the Anunnaki 420,000 years ago, and our purpose was to mine gold, and we've been obsessed with gold ever since.
That is true. We've been obsessed with gold, but I don't know. I kind of go with the ancient astronaut theory, and ancient civilizations were here before us that knew more, and they grew. And when they grew fast and intellectually, then you have the Egyptians that disappeared, the Aztecs disappeared.
We were all in those bodies, though, is what I'm saying. In other lifetimes, we were in those bodies, having those experiences. So wherever we came from, we're there, and we choose to come down here and incarnate into another body to learn more. And then when that body dies, we can come back down into another body to further the process or continue to have the experience if we want to.
I got you.
But we're not actually here. Like, we don't, the vehicle just dies, and we wake up to where we're from and then choose to come back down if we want. So
okay.
We have all of those experiences in all of those bodies since the beginning of what was going on down here.
Okay.
How about a million years of amphibian lizard-like creatures that reached a technology far beyond where we are today?
Yeah.
And they're the spacefarers who are coming from, I don't know what planet the lizard people are from.
All right. One more thing. Dr. Andrew, where can people find your work and get in contact with you if they would like?
So just those can go on the internet and type in Energyscapes, NRG, so Energyscapes Lab. That'll come up all our work. And we have a YouTube channel which does a lot of presentations on this, called AD Morgan Media. So AD Morgan Media on YouTube, or Energyscapes Lab on the internet as well.
Okay. Lindsey, where can people contact you?
You can go to my YouTube channel, which is just Lindsey Latham, and you can find all my links there. You can go to my link tree and send a contact form or shoot me an email. I'm easy to find by my name, Lindsey Latham.
All right. James.
My website is geometricunity.solutions. And right now I'm in the process of updating it because I've got a new cover and a new back cover. And I'm going to put those on the website in exchange. But if people go now, then they'll be able to see the changes. and then they can shoot me an email and tell me what they think about the changes.
Okay. All right. Well, if any of you, Dr. Morgan, anything you put out, I got you. I already said, because your work is invaluable. We need to get that stuff out and get people to see it, so we can get that, get the Jetsons going. I need my car.
I need my
rocket car.
It's coming soon.
I want to be able to be in Australia in 2 seconds in physical reality.
Yeah, right. Me too. Like, I want to go see you, Dr. Andrew, through my door. Like, I'll be right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I love any of you guys ever want to come back. You're more than welcome. You shoot me an email. I've got you. You'll be right back on the next day.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Have a good day.
evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night,
Nice to meet you
James.
Bye.
all. Yeah.
All right, everyone. That was the panel of scientific minds. Man, it was a good one today, wasn't it? Now, again, the Galactic Family Podcast wants to, again, take a moment. We need to recognize the gravity of the events that have happened in Central Texas, and show our love and our hearts, and give our love, show our love to these people that need love. They need us to send them our love and our support, because right now they're going through a lot. And as beings on this shared planet, like I said, we're all connected by spirit, by energy, and by compassion. And we should envelop that in everything we do and everything we try to do, and it'll never steer us wrong, anyone. Christina's light. I'm sorry. Thank you for being here, Mr. Nobody, Lady Daniel. It's always a pleasure. You guys are my family. You're my galactic family. Anybody needs anything, they know where to find me. My email is on the page. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You guys can shoot me an email and I will get back to you immediately. Mr. Nobody knows that. I got you, Mr. Nobody, anytime, day or night. But Galactic Family, I love you guys. Have a great night, great evening. Wherever you are in the world, I wish you love, and I send it your way. Thank you, and have a great night, Galactic Family.